Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our next session, Lone Legends, Top Producers, Blueprint for Success.
Mic drop.
Wow, what a good entry. Thank you. Welcome, everyone, to our after lunch panel. Hopefully everybody is awake and ready to go. We have some real lone legends here with us today. I've had the honor and privilege of really getting to spend time with, I'll say, three of them in depth, right? I think at the end here, I've worked with Kevin Kenerson with Lend a Hand Mortgage, right?
That's right.
Based out of Nashville. We have Todd Emerson Albrecht with Edge Home Finance. Miss Ashley Bedford.
Ashley.
And our newest one that I've had the opportunity to meet, Melissa Tubau, right? 2 years. Woo! 2 years into the industry and already on a stage as a lone legend. So I'm really excited for us to be able to give you guys some insights on what does it take in order to not only be a top producer, but what does that blueprint look like? So I'm going to start with Kevin at the end. Kevin, you've built an outstanding business, right? It's a family-based business. I think if you don't follow Kevin online, go and search him out on Facebook. This guy really lives, breathes. I think most of us, you'll learn, it's a lifestyle. It's not a job, right? How have you incorporated that lifestyle into the growth of your business?
That's a good question. I mean, I think that at an early age, I realized that I was a hard worker. And a lot of people up here, they talk and they say, well, they're not the smartest people, but they work really hard. That was me. I was like, okay, well, I'm going to outwork all of my competition. I'm going to find out ways that I could be invested each and every day. And really, that's what it came down to. It turned out that I was going to do a lot of presentations to as many agents as I possibly could. This business is all about numbers. You got to make sure that you're presenting to as many people as you possibly can. So if you're presenting to one agent, that's okay. That's great. But you want to present to many, and that's the objective. So I've got a team member that I'll actually schedule my presentations, and I'll do 8 to 10 presentations each and every month. I'm talking to 50 to 100 agents every month, and I'm making sure that I have them well organized. I know who I'm talking to, who I'm in a market to, and I stay in front of those agents all the time. Now, if you don't mind, I've got something to say. Okay.
Fire away.
So Cassie didn't want me to tell this story, but I love chickens, okay? So every morning I let my chickens out, and I let these chickens out, and I say, hey, they love scraps. So I put the scraps out for them, and they immediately go to those scraps. Well, the rooster doesn't like it, so he runs off, and he runs about 100 feet down the grass. Well, he makes a rooster call to say, I've got some food over here. Do you want it? He didn't have any food over there, okay? I still had the food. There's originators out there that don't have the food to provide to your agents. We've got, as brokers, we've got the best pricing. We've got the best service. We've got all the products to offer our agents. So me, who I am, I say, hey, I'm going to call my chickens back. I make the chicken call, and I say, all my chickens come running back to me. Rightfully so, because I have all the food for them. Agents, there's going to be a lot of LOs out there. You guys need to make a lot of noise about what you do so that your agents will know exactly what you do. Use social media as that platform, and you're going to do some amazing things.
I love it. Kevin, I think I relate to that because I've always even told my team, we chase chickens, not eggs, right? And to me, I've used it from the point of trying to build and develop relationships with real estate agents because they're going to keep dropping those eggs, right? You're going to keep eating. Yeah. So great insight from that. Todd, tell us a little bit about for those that don't know Todd is one of the massive producers in this industry. I think he's been averaging over 50 a month, really built and scaled a team. Todd, what has led you to the point to where you're at right now, and how has that been for you? What has been some of the best, your best scaling ability or your strong suit?
Well, first and foremost, it was coming to the broker channel, guys, okay? Was a big retail for many, many, many years, brainwashed. When I got to the broker channel and in this crowd at Fuse last year, was really where all the seeds were planted for me to build what I've built. My key to success is A, I'm licensed everywhere. So we help everybody everywhere. B, I've learned how to duplicate myself and truly trust my team to the point where they feel as though they're still working and being advised by Todd, but every single team member that I have has another team member that covers down for them. So we literally make ourselves available pretty much 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. We shut down like Chick-fil-A on Sundays, thank you very much. But that's been part of the gifts. Then obviously the opportunity to grow in the broker space is unlimited. Like I used to be a kind of, I'm gonna call it a cliche loan officer where I only did VA and conventional. At Edge Home Finance and as a part of the broker channel, we serve the whole community. So making people into both proud homeowners and the American dream is what I do it for.
Love it. Ashley, let's hear it. So those that don't know Ashley, I've had the honor of knowing her from her last company, made a switch to just an amazing group of companies that apply. You've had a good niche, right? You were something I learned a lot from you at one of our very first fuses that you talked about what your journey was in this industry. Give us a little rundown on what has gotten you to the level of success that you are today.
Yeah, I realized that everybody and their mother, brother, sister could be licensed in Florida, and so I had to figure out a way to be different. And I'm in Orlando, Florida, so everybody's knocking on the doors of real estate offices and dropping donuts off, and that just doesn't work. It just costs a lot of money, and you're not making any money. So I found that you could do manual underwrites when people were getting loans declined, so I started calling title companies and asking them if they could have the realtors call me directly if a loan was getting declined a few days or a day before closing. And I kept calling over and over, asking, just give me an opportunity, and eventually they did, and I closed that deal, a manual underwrite, in 10 business days, and that title company I still work with today and sent me realtors, and then I kind of earned a reputation around Orlando. Well, she can save it, and I still have that, so I save loans all the time for that, and then I found that you could go after transaction coordinators. They make the least amount of money in the transaction, and they do a lot of work. And so if they can get more transactions to make more money and they never have to follow up with me, that is the goal at all times. And then guess what? They're in closest communication with the realtor, and they're telling them to send the business to me instead of another loan officer. So.
It's beautiful. I know for me, a lot of us strayed away early in our career from a manual underwrite because it's not a guaranteed, right? It's one of those things that are scary. Even to this day, if any of us get a manual underwrite, it's like, set the precedence of what the expectations are. I'm a firm believer that what we control is communication. And to watch someone like Ashley, who has really dominated the conversational piece of it to where, give me a shot at this manual underwrite, she's built that reputation to where, 20, 21, 22, I mean, let's hear about it, because to me it's important. You closed how many transactions during that time?
321
yeah,
on
in a month,
Calyx,
in a year, I'm sorry.
Guys, Calyx, not Arrive. It was definitely a feat. So.
Yeah, we'll get into that. I mean, with Calyx Point closing 320 loans plus a year as a solo originator who built her business off talking to the people that a lot of us aren't having those conversations with. Those title companies are seeing deals blow up. Those transaction coordinators know the companies to where, oh, I'm sorry, it flipped from an approve eligible to a refer, and I can't do it, right? She came in and dominated that business, and now what happens? She's not doing all manual underwrites, I guarantee it. You can look up her production. Now she has the opportunity where she's earned that respect and got in, where somebody maybe had a good relationship before. Typically, it's retail. They're still dominating a lot of spaces with MSAs and things where they're paying for business. But when you provide a value on something that we have a unique opportunity to do in the broker space, we have a lot of good partners here that do manual underwrites. That's a niche to where she earned a career. Now, you do the math on 320 closings in a year, done an amazing job. So thank you so much, Ashley.
Yeah.
All right, our newbie. This one's exciting for me. 2 years in the industry and already just crushing it. Give us a little background, right? What brought you to the mortgage space, and what do you think earned you the spot up here today?
Well, I actually have no background in business or finance at all. I never thought that I would work in this industry. My degree is in anthropology, and that's really where my passion lied. I actually came into the mortgage industry off of a suggestion from a family member who is in a similar industry and thought that it would work for me. I thought that it was a hard no because I really don't like math at all. But I gave it a shot and it was just a perfect fit. And I think that's because we are truly in an industry of relationships. It's a people-oriented business. And so for me, that's been the biggest thing. I would say relationship building, really truly listening to the person that you're speaking with, what their needs are, what problem you can resolve from them, and being present in the moment. And then, of course, following the advice of everyone who's come before me, because I came into this a completely blank slate. And so I truly put into action everything that I was told from my mentors, from top producers on my team, and just tried to put in the work every single day.
Love it. So you have an amazing mentor, right? Han Dao, a lot of us know, love the work that she does, a lot of the education that she's helped bring our community. When we talk about building relationships, I want to get a little more granular on that, right? As a new originator coming in, you can have the best team lead, you can have all of those things, but something has to be to where the dedication and work ethic of getting out and networking, right? Share with me, what is your best networking event? What is driving that business when you're trying to build relationships? Are they happy hours? Are they lunch and learns? Tell me what it is that's gotten you to the point to where you're crushing it from a production standpoint. How are you fostering those relationships?
So the key thing is actually not bringing in the business, right? You can get a referral, you can convince someone to send you a deal. The key thing is making sure that your process is in place so that you don't lose it. If you can't deliver, it does not matter how many years you have spent with that realtor or that client. If you mess up the deal the first time, that's it. So you can take them out to coffee, you can do happy hours, you can do, the lunch and learns and going over the programs and the processes with their team. But if you or your processor messes up that file, that's it. That's absolutely the key.
Yeah, it's a blown relationship. And I know for a lot of newer team members, even for me, you get to leverage the experience of the team that you're with, right? It's not I'm coming in and I have no experience. You can say, hey, my team has helped X amount of people and we have these amount of 5-star reviews. Leverage your team to build that trust, and then there's no excuses. And that's been your go-to, right? It's just been dedication, hard work, and no excuses.
Yeah, and also, I'm going to ask questions. I want to figure out the tricks, and the best thing about my team is that, there's friendly competition, but no one is a threat, right? They want you to succeed, and so the first thing that I did was sit down with our top originator and ask her, how do you manage your assistants? Like, what are the questions that you're going to ask in the initial call to get to know your borrower better and their situation? And just that sharing of information, like brokers do, is priceless.
Definitely is. Kevin, as you've grown in this industry, right, I think you and I have been friends for some time. I've watched what you've done. I've even copied some of it, to be honest with you. I think copying somebody's thing that they're doing is sometimes the biggest form of flattery, so hopefully you see it that way. We'd be taking it from you. But I want to go into it, right? As you scale, your job changes, right? As a broker owner, and I know you have an amazing partner, your wife that helps support you, but your role changes, right? As you've gotten to the point to where you were doing 10, 15 loans a month, to where now as a company, I think you're probably doing 150, 200 loans a month. What has your role changed into to allow you to not stall on that growth?
Yeah, we've put some really good people into positions that we firmly trust. They're properly aligned. They're doing everything that I would do as if it were me. And I think that's really important. Like, you want someone to replicate what you would do in those situations so that you feel comfortable. And my role has more been to go after relationships. I'm the face of the company. There's more behind me, but I'm the face of the company. And I think that's important. If you can go out there and have the confidence that you're going to have the same process, whether I'm originating, talking to the clients, having those same consultation calls, you're in a really good spot. So me, it's just all about relationships. And I think as LOs, we have to figure out, where are we going to get best paid? How are we best going to be that right fit for your company, for your role? And for me, it's just, I'm a relationship kind of guy, and that's where I've been.
Love it. And you're dominating for that, because when you preposition it with a realtor partner or a group that you're going to do a presentation for, even though they might not be the first person, they might not be working with the client directly, they're working with you, right? They know that experience is what you've laid down, and if there is a problem, you're available, you're the problem solver, you're the rainmaker, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Want to touch base on one more thing because I don't want us to run out of time before I get to this. You and I have done something very similar when we talk about building relationships that have helped grow your business, right? We talk about you're doing these presentations a lot, but you leverage one of our lending partners to help explode that growth for you. Will you share that with me?
Yeah, so back in 2002, when everyone was really, they had a mindset that it was doom and gloom. I mean, we were all there. It was like our agents were doom and gloom. So I took an approach to say, all right, let's utilize what UWM is doing with Success Track. Let's get these agents, because I don't know about you, but every time I go up to UWM, I'm like, I'm on fire. I can't wait to do more business. What they do for us is amazing. I want agents to have that same opportunity to go up there and see what UWM has to offer, because it's amazing. It's like a lifetime, like once in a lifetime kind of experience. And when you get up there, of course, we do the job upright. Like we've got, okay, before they get up there to UWM, we've got to play. We send them all the details. We send them a shirt. You know, by the time they get there, they know everything about us. We've already friended them on Facebook, because sometimes when we take agents up to UWM, I'm not necessarily doing business with them, but I send them a teaser video. They know everything about it. And by the time they get to the airport, they're like, it's so nice to meet you, Kevin. I can't wait to go on this trip. We take them on the trip. It is exciting. It is amazing. We make sure that we do some fun things up there. But UWM, you walk on the campus and you're like, wow, blown away. I don't care if I do business with Kevin, but I want to do someone that does business at UWM, because they feel like that's the place to be. And it's amazing if you guys have ever been there. Once we bring them back from UWM, it's a matter of making sure that we market to them over and over again, create that value proposition so that they understand that, okay, we're legit, UWM is legit, and we're in this together to win.
I love it. And I think, one of the parts that I've taken away from what you've done is to own that trip as your own companies. UWM partners with us and gives us that opportunity for a smaller brokerage. If you're taking 5 of your team members and they have 2 agents apiece coming, that's a big bill to pay for a smaller independent brokerage, right? UWM's allotting us to be able to help us grow. But if you watch the way Kevin and his team brand it, it's his team putting it on, right? You can't call UWM and get a mortgage. So there's not a threat of competition of branding that aspect, to where, as he mentioned, he's sending out that itinerary beforehand, but it has lending hand mortgage on it, right? It looks like you're the one doing it. Besides the knowledge that's gained there, you're getting time to really spend that eyeball time, that face-to-face. And I've had some of my best growth opportunities in those moments at the happy hours after, right? Like, you're sitting there and talking. For the majority of us, we're so busy, you don't get the time to necessarily always talk about how are your kids, how is your family, but that's what relationships are, right? So it provides just an unbelievable opportunity for growth in that environment. So thank you, Kevin.
Yeah, if I did anything right in 2022 and 2023, it was that trip.
Yeah, it's good.
Over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, I've copied it from you, so I think it was amazing.
You're welcome.
By the way. Todd, give me an example. You are producing at a level of, like I said, 50 plus a month, right? And this isn't just with one lender. You are a broker, believe in the power of choice. How have you been able to scale? I know you talked about replacing yourself. I've been able to witness this firsthand because we work together. There's times I text Todd, and somebody else is texting me back, and it's not him. But it's like I know from the response. Customers don't. What has been your tech stack that's allowed you to really duplicate yourself to produce at the level that you do?
Well, let's start with Apple phones instead of Androids, kids. I actually carry both, but Apple makes it. Apple messaging on both the computers and on the phones is what makes it possible for my team to cover down. To me, it's very important that people get answers fast, whether it's good news, whether it's bad news, whatever the news is, the faster you can get it and the faster you can solve it, the better. So I've built my whole system around somebody being able to give a response and get a response within 30 minutes, no matter where the entire team is at. Client could be texting me right now when my team is able to answer and see that within the system. The empowering part of the broker side is that we get to choose our technology partners, and we have some amazing ones, guys. Personally, again, I use a ton of LendingPad, Bonzo, and the follow-through methodology that goes along with Bonzo is second to none in my opinion. And then again, make sure that you can give them that answer. right? It was a huge, how I'm able to get to 50 plus units a month is the same way I'm going to get to 100 plus families a month, which is it's about serving the families. And if you can duplicate yourself both through technology and people, they love working with a team, right? When people ask me how big my team is, I tell them Edge is about 1,500 family members, because that's the truth. And there isn't a single one of us that wouldn't cover down for one another, because that's how the company is built by our amazing founders sitting down there running this panel.
Well, Todd, I think for a lot of you that are hearing this, I've had to pick his brain. Part of why we put these conferences on really is from a networking perspective. If you don't have that piece, even if you have one or two team members and you're missing that continuity of everything running smoothly to where you can be at a conference, but you have to be running out nonstop, you're stuck at an ability that you can't scale. All of these individuals here either have teams that have helped them do it, or they've invented it themselves, which leads me to my next one. Ashley, you obviously have continued to scale your business, right? Nobody's doing 30, 40, 50 loans a month without having a good team and a good process. What do you see things moving forward for you to be able to continue to grow? What is the key parts of your team that allow that?
I think that I do things a little bit differently than most brokers. I delegate differently. So my amazing assistant does all my social media and handles documents, but I contact and talk to every client. And then I have a processor, but I also believe in working in the office and culture. And so moving companies was a huge thing for me, and I know we've talked about that too. If you don't have the right culture, you'll never grow because you'll constantly feel like the walls are closing in on you. So it's imperative to have culture because your team grows and flourishes with that, and they just become, like you said, family, and it matters the most. And so having a company that helps you grow and helps you create things that you didn't even know were out there. I mean, I closed on Calyx, for crying out loud. No one can do that, okay? And so just having those growth things like Bonzo, I didn't even know those things existed. And that helps with growth because those are automated things that help me get to where I need to be so that I can handle the important things of helping people change their lives by owning houses.
It's awesome. And I think it's important, like having partners that maybe know a little more than you in spaces. Like you are excellent at relationships, right? Yeah. You're probably the best in your company at it. However, having partners like with Appli that know the technology, know the process, know the things to be able to help you focus on what is your skill set, right? Your skill set is being able to talk to people and build relationships. If you're stuck in files, and this is what Jonathan's speech was really about today, how do we get out of doing the things that are not revenue generating? In my company, I call it white knuckle syndrome, right? Like you're holding on so tight to that file, and you're holding it and trying to get everything through that you've lost the opportunities that are there for you. I know for a lot of us, we have what we'll call the up and down months. If you're having those, in my opinion, you have a scalability problem. You need to look. I talked to wherever Ari is at. She's a good friend of mine who works with us. She's like, hey, it's time for an LOA. I'm ready to scale. I need to figure out what's happening. Why do I go from 10 to 5 to 10? If that's the pattern, it's time to fix it. And there are people here that want to share. The best part about our community is it's not lend a hand mortgage or it's not Appli. It's the broker community. We are a giving community to where ask those questions, make sure that you're getting some good takeaways today. For you, Michelle, already obviously just killing it. Talk to me about your process. How are you able to walk in? And I know that for those that know Han, maybe understand some of it, but reshare it because I don't think everybody understands the process that Han has built that you've stepped into.
Yeah, so for me, I would say it's very similar to Ashley. I really agree with that model. I want to be the person talking with the clients. I want to build the relationship, and the key thing for me is education and empowering them to make the right decision. I'm never going to make a decision for my client, right? And everything is client focused. So one of the key things that Han has always told us is if you keep what's in the best interest of the client at your focus, you will never lose. So even in our community, there's a lot of new builds. There are times where I have to tell a client, hey, this is a really good deal that they're offering you. Take it, go. I can't do this loan for you. But they usually come back and they appreciate that, right? And they respect it because you're being honest and transparent. So I would say keeping the client, the center of everything, And then having your process in place, right? Having an in-house underwriter, if you can manage it, is extremely helpful. Having processors, things like that to support you so that you can work on building the relationship and growing as a team.
That's really it. And I think that's the biggest thing that I've been impressed about with HUN is understanding quality in, quality out, right? We all know it, but however, how much of that quality are you spending time before your originators are submitting a deal and knowing, do they actually have a deal? Has it been reviewed? Do you have the places, the systems in place to train your team like you've been trained? You don't even need to necessarily rely on it, but now having that second level review, you can see why Han and her team does so much business because the process is amazing, right? You're not having as many fires to stop and, oh, I have to fix the Smith file that was supposed to close because this popped up and I didn't know about it. It's not made up. Talk to Han, talk to the people here. They're doing the work beforehand, so you're predicting what's going to happen. Our biggest job is communication, right? And if you can communicate effectively on what to expect, on the manual underwrites that Ashley was doing, what do you think her expectations were? I really think I can get, you can speak for yourself, but I mean, I've learned from you. I really am going to try hard to get this done. I believe it fits. I'm going to have an approval within 3 to 5 days, and we'll know exactly where we sit, right?
You should always under-promise and over-deliver, because that's the number one complaint I get from realtors, that other lenders never communicate, and they always say, oh, I'll be tomorrow. And there is no balance in this business. It's whatever's priority in the moment. So just make sure that client is your priority in the moment. Make a checklist if you need to of what it looks like to manually underwrite a file. Don't turn them away. I say never tell anybody no. It's just you might tell yourself no if you don't follow the plan.
Love it. Well, listen, thank you guys both, all of you, for sharing the knowledge, insight. Conference isn't over. These people will be here. Walk up and ask them questions. If there's something that sparked an interest to you, please, that's what we're here to do. I hope everyone still enjoys the rest of the event, and thank you all.